I think we're live. Let me check for a second if everything is all right on YouTube. Okay, so I'm hearing that everything is good with our stream. So my name is Ivan Turasov. I'm a sales engineer at Things Industries. And in this session, I'm going to show and tell you about how to migrate your devices and your LoRaWAN deployment from the community network, the Things network, or the Things Stack Community Edition, to the Things Stack Cloud, to our enterprise solution. Now, you might have seen already a previous session that I've had on migrating from Chirp Stack to the Things Stack Cloud. And the steps that I'm going to go through today are fairly similar. So you can always find that session on YouTube, and I have it on my screen if we can show for a second, just for people to see the YouTube page. This is the previous edition of the migration videos. Now today we're going to, as I said, be talking about migrating devices from the Things network to the Things Stack Cloud. As before, everything I'm going to cover today, every step and all the considerations and even a bit more, you can find in our documentation, which I have on my screen right now. So we're going to go through, I have a test set up here. So I have the Things network account, and I have two applications that I will be migrating today. And I have a gateway that is also right here that we're also going to migrate. Now, this is an important thing to consider when planning your migration, is that you can do it in two ways, and both of them also are covered in the documentation. We can migrate devices without the persisting active session, which means that the devices that you migrate will have to rejoin the new network that you are migrating them to, which is the recommended way to migrate your devices, because it's not always easy to migrate the gateways as well. So why I'm saying this is because to migrate the devices with active sessions, you need to have a gateway that's connected to your new network ready when the vicinity of this device will take over. Only then this will work. Otherwise, your device will be stuck thinking that it's still in a session with the old network server while it's already deleted from there. But I'm going to cover both of the situations, both of the scenarios of migrating both the devices without session and with session. So for all the steps, we're going to be using our migration tool. It's called TTN LW Migrate, and you can find it in GitHub. It's open source, as well as referred in the documentation, and you can get download link. So if you're going to be performing these steps, you might want to actually download the migration tool from GitHub in the releases page. That way you will make sure that you get the latest version of the tool, supporting all the features I'm going to be covering today. Now, currently we support migrating from Chirp Stack, from the Things Network legacy V2 stack, and from the Things Stack to the Things Stack, which we're going to be doing today, because the Things Network also runs the Things Stack, obviously. So yeah, let's probably get to it. So yeah, so I have here my terminal where I'm going to be running the commands with the migration tool. Now, before running any commands, we need to set up the environment such that the tool knows which application and which server to talk to. So for that, in here, we have this section which explains the configurations that you need to take into account. The easiest way for me, at least, is to create an environment variable file, which would have all the necessary variables. So first, I'm going to migrate this application. Now, taking a step back, what is actually migration? So what happens during the migration is we export the devices and all their identities into a JSON file using the APIs of the Things network. And as a last step, we import this JSON file to the new network server or to the Things Stack cloud, which means that before actually exporting the devices, you need to already think about where you're going to import them. Is the structure of applications going to be the same as in your current network server or not? So these are some questions to think about. So for me, I will just migrate the applications one-to-one. So I want to migrate these two by the end of this session. So I'm going to go to my Things Stack Cloud account, which is a separate network server. Our enterprise, in fact, it's our staging environment. And I'm going just to create the same applications with the same app IDs. So this will be application 1. So the application 2. So now what I'm going to do is to talk to these two applications and the respectful devices import to these two applications. Okay, so we're going to start with this application. It contains 3 test devices. They never joined. In practice, it can be devices that you, again, don't want to preserve the session of. So you will know that after migration, they will rejoin the network. So the first thing to do is to generate an API key for this application. I have already done that, but it's performed on the configuration page of the application. We add the API key, granted rights to view and edit devices and delete devices from the application. And then we need to create a configuration file. I have already done that. I'm going to show the contents of my configuration file for no session. So this file contains the application ID that I'm going to export from. So that's that application, migrate no session. The API key that I created here, and the addresses of the network server entities that it needs to talk to. So this all is contained again on that documentation page. You can just copy it and add your application name and API key. So now I'm going to source this file such that these environment variables are in my environment. And after this, I'm going to just export this application. So what happens here is that I run the command, I specify that I'm exporting an application, the network server type that I'm exporting from is the Things Network v3. I'm going to perform a dry run, which means that the devices are not going to be deleted just for the sake of demo in case something is wrong. This is also the recommended way when you are trying for the first time. So I would recommend also to start not exporting the whole application, but try it with one device or a couple just to make sure that you got all the steps right. And I'm providing the app ID and the flag to make sure that I'm not exporting the session information. And I'm writing it to the app.json file. Okay, so we see that a file was filled with 3 devices, all the relevant information about them. So what I'm going to do now is, so again, if you don't provide dry run flag, these devices would be deleted from here. And it's necessary because between the Things Stack instances that devices, they need to be deleted when you export them. So now I'm going to go to the application in my receiving network server, the ThinkStack Cloud. And I'm going to press import devices in my application, select the ThinkStack JSON format, and select the file that I just created. Oh, sorry. 1 second. Do I still have sound? My headphones just stopped working. Do we have sound? Okay, we have sound. Okay, so I have here the app.json file that we just generated. I'm going to upload it. And now there's some fallback values that we can specify in any case, in JSON, some fields that are critical for creating the device entity are not correct or something, or they are not there. We can specify some values that would be put to these devices by default. So yeah, after this, I'm gonna import. We see that everything is successful. And yeah, we see these devices in our application in the ThinkStack Cloud. So you see the device IDs are preserved, the device EUIs are the same. And now? Okay, good. Sorry, it's the microphones failing over to one another. So yeah, as I was saying, basically this is the whole process of migrating the devices without sessions. Now, the next time they're going to join, they're going to be active in this network server, provided that they were deleted from the Things network before. Now, that's clear, but that's the easier part of that. Now, let's cover migrating the devices with active sessions. There are some steps and some notes on migrating the gateways as well. And actually, we're going to migrate the gateway as well. So we're going to start with that actually. So as I said, I have a Kona micro gateway right here near my desk that is connected to the Things network. And it is picking up the messages from this generic node. I can even show it sitting on my desk. That's also registered in the Things network. I want to migrate this generic node. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to migrate this gateway to the stack instance that I'm migrating my device to. So I'm going to go to the configuration and basically just reroute this gateway to the instance. Okay. And I'm going to restart my packet forwarder. And this is the page of the gateway with the same EUI, but in the ThinkStack Cloud, where I'm now basically rerouted it. So soon enough, after the packet forwarder is restarted, hopefully, yeah, this gateway should, yeah, so it already got connected. This network server has recognized it. We see that, yeah, this is the gateway server address that it's now talking to, and it's already receiving some status messages. So now, since we have the gateway that is connected to our new instance, we can safely migrate the device with a persisting session and be sure that it's going to continue sending messages without interruptions. So as I said, yes, we have here another application with another device, and for that I have another environment file. I'm just going to show it so it's all clear that it's a different app ID I'm providing and a different API key I'm providing that I created in this app. So I'm going to source this file now so that the migration tool talks to this application now. And here I'm going to actually export a device, not the application. So it's going, so if I had, for example, more devices in this application, but if I'm using this command device, I would export only this particular device from this application. And I'm going to provide the flag delete source device such that the device gets deleted and can safely continue its session the new network server. So yeah, we're going to perform this. This is the result. You can see that this is what got exported just for one device. So it's all the session information, all the latest uplinks that were stored in the network server. It all is contained here. And we can see that the device is actually not existing in the Things network anymore. So I'm going to go to my ThinkStack Cloud instance and go to the other application that I prepared for this node. And I'm going to import it the same way I did with the applications. So I have this file. I'm going to provide fallback values. And yeah, you see that the device was imported successfully, but the information that was imported is way more than for devices without sessions. That's why we encourage people to migrate without sessions, because there is way bigger surface of things that can go wrong potentially when doing this. But still, for the sake, we're going to proceed. And we see that the device is now in the new network server, but it contains all the session information like number of uplinks and downlinks that were in Things network. It's all preserved. And we can also see that the device has already started working with this network server. So the uplink that it sent, it got received to the migrated gateway. And yeah, we can see the device being active in the ThinkStack Cloud. So yes, that's basically it. That's basically it. So there are, again, a couple of things to consider when migrating the devices with active sessions. But all in all, that's all. We have two applications migrated to the ThinkStack Cloud. One with devices without sessions, and one with a device with an active session that continued sending messages to our new instance. So yeah, that's I guess that would be all. And now, if there can make a couple of minutes, if there's some questions that we could answer. So this recording will be available on our YouTube channel in the live section, together with a session about ChirpStack, because there are some slight differences in the configuration that have to be made. But apart from that, it's fairly similar. Okay, so I see there are no questions at this moment. Yeah, well, then I guess everything was clear. So yeah, so I think since there are no questions right now, we're going to round it off. And if you have any questions about this video or any other questions, you can always reach out at info@thetingsindustries.com, and we'll make sure all your questions are answered. But yeah, thank you everyone for viewing this, and I wish you a good day and good luck with your migrations.